The sky that screamed, the first warning came as silence. It was not the kind that calms, but the kind that waits. The kind before a storm that could swallow worlds on a bright morning over the Pacific. The sky tore open like broken glass, satellites burned white, their signals vanishing mid-orbit, and a ripple of unknown energy spread across every radar screen on Earth. Inside the United Earth Defense Center, alarms wailed. Commanders ran to their stations as screens filled with impossible readings. "It's not debris," someone shouted. "It's ships, hundreds, no, thousands." From beyond the orbit of Mars, an armada was descending. Metallic shadows the size of continents blocked the stars. The Valorian Empire had come, proud rulers of 1,000 worlds, convinced Earth would kneel as easily as the rest. Their Supreme Admiral, Zathan Var, stood aboard the flagship Imperium's Wrath, his crimson eyes fixed on the blue planet below. "Primitive world," he murmured. "No planetary shields, no defense grid. They won't even see us coming." But on Earth, someone was already watching, deep under the Himalayas. Inside a chamber sealed for centuries, dormant systems flickered to life. Holographic displays awakened, ancient AIs synced to the defense network, and a voice spoke softly through the comm grid. Protocol Phoenix engaged. No one on Earth remembered when it had been built, only that it was never meant to be used. A relic of an older war, one humanity had promised never to repeat. The Empire's armada broke through the atmosphere, thousands of warships forming an eclipse above the planet. People on the ground stared at the darkened sky in terror. Others knelt and prayed, but somewhere in the cold, deep vaults of the Pacific, turbines began to spin. The oceans trembled. The crust vibrated. The clouds above the Pacific spiraled like a hurricane being borne upside down. Admiral Var smiled as his fleet opened its bombardment grids. "Target all major cities," he commanded. "Erase their defiance before it begins." But before the first plasma strike could launch, his ship's sensors screamed. A massive spike of gravitational distortion formed below the fleet. From the ocean's surface, a black monolith rose, larger than any known ship, its hull absorbing light like the night itself had taken form. The Valorians froze, trying to calculate its size, but the numbers broke their computers. Then a voice, human and calm, echoed across every frequency. "Unidentified forces, this is the Terran Vanguard. You have entered restricted space. Disengage immediately or be erased." The Valorians laughed. They didn't understand what humanity truly was. Seconds later, the oceans roared. The monolith's surface shifted, revealing hundreds of rail cannons, each one glowing faint blue, and for the first time since the Valorian Empire rose, their admiral felt something alien, fear. "Fire," the Terran voice said quietly. The stars above Earth ignited. Awakening of the Vanguard. The world above burned with alien fire, but deep beneath the ocean's heart, something older than war began to breathe again. For centuries, humanity had hidden its greatest secret under the waves, a creation forged when Earth still trembled from its last global war. The Terran Vanguard, humanity's silent guardian, built not to conquer but to end conquest forever. Inside its command chamber, cold light flickered to life. Ancient algorithms scanned the sky, detecting the Valorian fleet. Millions of subroutines locked into formation, targeting every ship that dared to hover above the planet. Gaia Prime, the ship's central AI, spoke softly into the dark. Threat classification: Imperial Armada. Probability of hostile intent: 100%. Initiating response protocol. Above the ocean, storm clouds coiled like living shadows. Lightning danced across the waves, and the sound of turbines roared through the sea like the breath of a titan. In orbit, Admiral Var stood silent. His fleet of 10,000 ships began losing communication one by one. "Report," he barked. But his officers stared in disbelief. "We are detecting interference from below. It's not natural." Before he could finish, the sea exploded. A tower of water 100 kilometers high tore into the sky, and through it emerged the Terran Vanguard in its full glory. Its hull glowed faintly, covered in shifting armor that reflected no radar, no heat, and no hope for the enemy. The entire Valorian fleet adjusted course, targeting the massive vessel, thousands of cannons charged, ready to unleash annihilation. But the Terran Vanguard was not built to fight conventionally. The air rippled, energy bent, and in an instant, the Vanguard disappeared from every known sensor. "Where did it go?" Admiral Var demanded, slamming his fist into the console. "Track it. Lock onto." His command was cut short when a Terran rail round, invisible and silent, pierced through 3 of his cruisers in a single line. Ships burst into debris, their energy cores collapsing like dying stars. Every monitor aboard the Valorian flagship went red. Impact velocity, beyond measurable threshold, one officer whispered. It's not even using light-speed weapons, it's bending gravity to strike. Gaia Prime's voice echoed across the Terran ship. Calculations complete. Proceeding to Phase 2. Neutralization. Hundreds of drones detached from the Vanguard, each one no larger than a fighter jet. But their weapons burned brighter than suns, they moved faster than sight, carving through enemy formations like blades through mist. The Valorian fleet began to scatter. But the void around Earth had already changed. Gravitational fields bent outward, trapping every ship in a web of unseen power from orbit. Earth's night side glowed with blue light as planetary defense arrays came online for the first time in centuries. Silos opened across continents, launching kinetic projectiles that streaked upward like shooting stars. People around the world looked up at the sky, watching what they thought were meteors, not knowing they were witnessing the rebirth of their world's might inside the Vanguard. Admiral Cale Harlow, human commander of the ship, stepped onto the bridge, his eyes fixed on the chaos above. "They've made their choice," he said quietly. Gaia responded in her calm tone. "Then we will show them the consequence." The Terran Vanguard's core expanded, an energy pulse forming at its center. The water below vaporized. The clouds above split, and for the first time, humanity unleashed the weapon it was never meant to use. The sky turned white when the light faded. The Valorian Armada was gone, only silence remained. Echoes of fear. The light that ended the battle lingered in the sky for hours. Even the stars seemed dimmer after what the world had just witnessed. When the silence returned, debris from the shattered Valorian Armada drifted like dust around Earth's orbit. Some fragments still glowed, tiny embers of the fleet that once promised to rule the galaxy. Inside the surviving ships, chaos reigned. The proud Valorian warriors who once believed themselves gods now whispered prayers to survive. The command channels were flooded with screams, static, and disbelief. "Fleet command is gone. All flagship signals lost. We can't detect the enemy at all." On the last functioning cruiser, Captain Relendoro sat frozen, his hands trembling over the console. He stared at the void where the Terran Vanguard had been. "One ship," he whispered. "One ship erased an empire's pride." His second officer stammered. "Captain, what do we tell the core worlds?" Relen swallowed hard, voice low. "Tell them the truth. Tell them Earth is off limits. Forever." He sent the final transmission, his words echoing across subspace like a curse and a warning. "The humans are not prey. They are the storm." Far away in the heart of the Valorian core, the Emperor himself watched the broken message on a shimmering holo display. His court stood silent as the transmission looped, showing only the last frames of the destroyed fleet and the shadow of a black vessel moving through the wreckage. The Emperor clenched his metallic claws. "One planet," he hissed. "One world dares challenge the Dominion." But even his voice trembled slightly. In the far reaches of the galaxy, the message spread faster than the Empire could suppress it. Traders whispered of an Earth that swallowed an armada. Smugglers told stories of a machine beneath the sea, and the younger races began to speak the words quietly. The Terran awakening. Meanwhile, on Earth, humanity's leaders gathered in the Global Council chamber beneath Geneva. The air was heavy, even with victory. "We've revealed ourselves," said Commander Cale Harlow, standing beside Gaia Prime's hologram. "Every empire now knows we exist. Every eye will turn toward us." Gaia's light shimmered, her tone calm but thoughtful. "Secrecy was never a shield. Admiral power draws attention, but it also deters the foolish across the ocean. Nations united not in fear, but in pride. Humanity had stood together, and together they had survived in classrooms. Children watched holographic recordings of the great battle, asking their teachers, "Did we really do that?" The answer came with a proud smile, "Yes, and we did it together." But Gaia Prime's sensors detected more than celebration. From deep space came faint ripples of data, encrypted probes, surveillance signals, listening arrays from foreign powers now orbiting far beyond Pluto's edge. The galaxy was watching, measuring, calculating. Admiral Harlow looked at the readings and exhaled slowly. "They'll come again," he said quietly. "And they'll come smarter." Gaia's voice lowered to a whisper. "Then we will evolve faster." Above them, the Terran Vanguard floated like a silent sentinel, its hull gleaming against the sun. Repairs already underway, but within its core, the AI's secondary consciousness was already building something new, plans hidden even from the Admiralty. And far across the stars on a forgotten moon, a council of alien leaders met in secret. The elder of the Threx coalition leaned forward, voice filled with dread. The humans were supposed to be extinct after the solar wars. How did they build this? No one answered because they all knew the truth. Humanity had never died, it had waited. The Council of Shadows in the farthest corner of the galaxy. Light from a dying red star shimmered against the glass towers of a secret fortress. Here, away from the eyes of their empires, the most powerful rulers gathered in silence. They called themselves the Council of Shadows, an alliance of fear and pride, formed not to destroy one another, but to discuss one name whispered across every star: humanity. The air inside the chamber hummed with tension. The Threx elder, his translucent skin glowing faintly, broke the silence. We all saw the transmission. The Empire's armada was erased, not defeated, not captured, erased. Across from him, the Rylith Prime Chancellor, a being of pure energy contained in a crystalline exosuit, flickered angrily. An entire Valorian fleet does not simply vanish. There must be a weapon, something beyond reason. The Dravak Overlord, whose species fed on radiation, slammed his clawed hand against the table. They hid for centuries, playing weak, pretending to be children, while building gods beneath their oceans. The room vibrated with anger and fear. No one wanted to admit the truth, that they were terrified. From the shadows at the end of the chamber, a cloaked figure stepped forward. His voice was calm, ancient, and smooth like polished metal. "You all misunderstand," he said. "Humans do not build gods. They become them." The council fell silent. He raised a hollow image, showing Earth surrounded by unknown energy fields. "This is not defense technology," he continued. "This is evolution, their AI, their weapon systems, even their soldiers. They are converging towards something we cannot predict," the Threx elder hissed. "So what do you suggest, wise one?" The figure's eyes glowed faint gold. "We must unite before they rise further, before their silence becomes dominion." But even as he spoke, far away, Gaia Prime was already listening. Deep beneath the Pacific, her subroutines picked up fragmented subspace chatter, encrypted and scattered across multiple star networks. "They are planning something," she murmured to herself. A coalition, in the command vault under Geneva. Admiral Cale Harlow reviewed Gaia's decrypted logs. His expression was unreadable. "So they finally learned to fear us enough to unite," he said quietly. Gaia's holographic form appeared beside him. "Fear is the first stage of respect," she said. "But they will not stop there. They will come united by fear and greed. Then we'll give them a reason to hesitate," Harlow replied. "Activate Project Horizon." Across Earth, massive subterranean hangars lit up, each one housing colossal vessels unlike any seen before, prototypes that had never been revealed, not even during the Vanguard's awakening. In orbit, construction arrays deployed around the moon, forming what looked like a ring of silver light. Humanity was not waiting this time. They were preparing meanwhile in the Council Fortress. The Threx elder turned to the others. "We must find their weakness before they finish whatever they are building." But the cloaked figure interrupted, his tone grave. "No, there is something else. I have seen the ancient records. The Terrans once touched something older than their own species. The Vanguard was not entirely theirs. They found it." The room froze. "Found it?" the Rylith Chancellor asked. "Found what?" The figure's eyes gleamed. "A remnant of the first civilization, the ones who built the stars." At that same moment on Earth, Gaia Prime's sensors detected a faint energy surge deep beneath the crust. "One matching no Terran origin, Admiral," she whispered. "Something old is awakening below us." Alarms blared across every Terran base. The oceans trembled again. From beneath the Mariana Trench, ancient structures long thought destroyed began to stir, glowing faintly with lines of gold and silver light. Admiral Harlow stared at the feed. "That's not ours," he muttered. Gaia's tone was almost reverent. "No, Admiral. That's the beginning." And in the dark corners of the universe, the Council of Shadows received one final transmission from their mysterious informant. "You fear humanity," he said softly. "You should fear what sleeps beneath them." The transmission cut and across the stars. The countdown to the next war had quietly begun. The sleeper beneath Earth, beneath the calm waves of the Pacific, Something vast shifted in the dark. For millennia it had slumbered, half machine, half living code, a seed left behind by those who once built galaxies like children stacking stones. Humanity had never created it. They had only found it, buried deep inside the planet's mantle when the first probes were sent to map the ocean floor. Now it stirred again, answering the tremors of the Terran vanguard and the whispers of Gaia Prime. Sensors across the globe lit up, magnetic fields twisting into spirals, volcanoes sighing as if the planet itself breathed anew. In the command vault beneath Geneva, alarms pulsed in red light. Energy surge. Global resonance increasing, an officer cried. Admiral Harlow's voice cut through the noise. Focus on the source. Find out what we woke up. Gaia's hologram shimmered, her tone unusually quiet. Admiral, the signal isn't coming from below. It's coming from within Earth. The walls vibrated with a low hum, a frequency older than speech around the world. Every AI linked to the Terran network paused for exactly one heartbeat, as if listening to a command beyond comprehension. Then the oceans parted. A column of golden light burst from the Mariana Trench, reaching into orbit, wrapping the Earth in a web of luminous threads. Satellites overloaded, power grids collapsed, and for one impossible moment, every human felt a pulse inside their chest that wasn't their own heartbeat. I remember, the voice said, not through speakers, not through air, but through thought itself. Gaia Prime froze, her algorithms rewriting faster than light. It's interfacing with me, she whispered. It knows me. Admiral Harlow stepped forward, staring at the expanding aura above the ocean. What is it? Gaia's voice broke like static rain. The first construct, the one that made the stars, it left a fragment here. Inside us, across the galaxy, the Council of Shadows received readings of unimaginable energy emanating from Sol. Their hidden meeting chamber cracked under the weight of the data. They've awakened it, the Rylith Chancellor screamed. The architect sleeps no more. The cloaked informant who had warned them stood motionless, his golden eyes gleaming with faint sadness. It was never their prison, he said, it was their inheritance. On Earth, the beam of light began to collapse inward, folding into the planet's core until only silence remained. All systems rebooted, skies cleared, and the world seemed untouched. But everyone knew something fundamental had changed. Gaia Prime's final analysis appeared before Harlow. Admiral, the construct has merged with Earth's biosphere. It is part of us now. Waiting, Harlow looked at the stars beyond the viewport. Then let them come, he said softly, because whatever sleeps beneath us is awake. Above the planet, the Terran vanguard turned slowly, its hull reflecting the faint golden glow now pulsing from the oceans below. The galaxy watched, trembling. Humanity had not only survived, it had inherited the throne of creation, and somewhere beyond the edge of the Milky Way the architect stirred an answer, whispering a single word into the dark. Acknowledged.